Here you go. What my husband handed me was unmistakably divorce papers. It was so sudden that my mind couldn't catch up. The voice I managed to squeeze out was trembling noticeably. Why? We've never even mentioned divorce before.
Isn't it obvious? Because you're infertile.
In the end, we divorced. I was forced to take all the blame and end the relationship unwillingly. However, the tragedy of my husband was to come several years later. My name is Michelle. I'm 27 years old. I married Jake, who's the same age as me, and we're in our 3rd year of marriage. Jake and I were classmates in college, and we've been dating since then. After graduating from college, we went through the unfamiliarity of working life and eventually got married. We've always been more like best friends than a couple. It may not be as romantic as the typical couple, but this relationship where we could talk about anything with complete honesty was comfortable for me. We've had arguments at times, but our marital relationship has been good. I thought we were going to live happily forever. Until one day, in our 2nd year of marriage, Jake came home looking grumpy.
Hey, Michelle, aren't you pregnant yet?
Huh? Why this sudden question?
My mom asked why we don't have kids yet after being married for 2 years.
That again? We talked about this, that children are a gift, remember?
That might be true, but it's been 2 years already, right? It's honestly stressing me out to be constantly nagged by my mom.
What am I supposed to do about that? Ever since we got married, my mother-in-law has been saying that she wants to see her grandchild soon. It's nice that she's looking forward to a grandchild. And if I could, I'd love to do that for her as soon as possible. But no matter how much time passed, we just weren't being blessed with a child. From my perspective, we've only been married for 2 years, but from my mother-in-law and Jake's point of view, it's already been 2 years. Recently, every time I see my mother-in-law, I'm reminded about children, and sometimes Jake even brings it up. Pregnancy is an issue between the couple. Yet my husband and my mother-in-law would blame me as if it was my fault. Because of this, our intimate moments have decreased, and we've been arguing more than before. This can't go on. I decided to express my feelings clearly. Jake, I don't think we need to rush this.
What? Why are you so casual about it?
With a disgusted look, my husband responded to my words.
Do I have to keep hearing the nagging from my mom forever?
That's why we should tell your mom that we should leave it to nature.
If she could understand that, we wouldn't be having a hard time. Just try a little harder, please.
What? What does that mean? It sounded as if I wasn't trying hard enough. What does try harder mean anyway? Is it such a bad thing that we haven't been blessed after 2 years of marriage? I couldn't understand my husband's perspective, and I was about to yell at him, but I didn't want to escalate the situation. I swallowed my anger, but my husband added fuel to the fire.
You know, I've been thinking for a while now. Michelle, are you infertile?
What? What are you talking about?
Isn't it obvious? Isn't it strange that we haven't had any children?
How does that make me the problem? It could be both of us, or it could be you, Jake.
What? Why me? It's usually the woman's problem when a couple can't have kids, right?
What? Are you serious? His unbelievable statement left me more stunned than angry. Please stop with the stereotypes. We're only 27, you know. We're not in a hurry.
But my mom says she wants to see her grandchild soon, so we can't help it.
Why do we have to cater to your mom's wishes?
Look, just go get a fertility test or something, okay?
My husband dropped the topic one-sidedly and locked himself in his room. Left alone, tears welled up in my eyes from all the anger and sadness. What on earth? How can he say such things so casually? As if it's all my fault when this is an issue between us. He could easily tell his mother straight out. From that day, our relationship as a couple deteriorated rapidly. I did as he told and had a fertility test, but it turns out I don't have any issues. Even when I shared this, his attitude didn't change at all. If anything, he's become even colder since it was confirmed that there's no problem on my end. Even when we're called to his parents' house together, I'm the only one who gets blamed.
Michelle, I heard the story from Jake.
His mother yells at me, mercilessly.
You apparently told Jake that you shouldn't rush into having kids yet.
I've said it before, having children is a blessing.
Enough! How long are you going to have this laid-back attitude? You're almost 30, aren't you?
Yes, I am, but there are plenty of people who have children past 30 these days.
Don't make excuses. You've been married for more than 2 years and you still don't have children.
My husband didn't defend me, even when she hurled such insults at me. Moreover, his icy gaze seemed to say, "It's your fault." I couldn't get through to them, and I was just constantly criticized. With all the blame being thrown at me, I felt like my heart was about to crush. And then his mother delivered the final blow.
Oh, I shouldn't have approved of this marriage with an infertile woman.
I'm not infertile, I wanted to retort, but the words got stuck in my throat. All that came out were tears. Even seeing me like this, my husband didn't offer any kind words, just let out a small sigh. Several days later, since then, I barely talked to him. Of course, no intimacy either. What used to be a happy life turned upside down and became like hell. On this day, as usual, I was preparing dinner in a gloomy mood, waiting for him to come home. As soon as he got home, my husband stormed towards me.
"Here you go."
What he handed me was unmistakably divorce papers. Why? We've never even mentioned divorce before.
Isn't it obvious? Because you're infertile.
What? I couldn't comprehend what was happening. It was all too sudden. The voice I managed to squeeze out was trembling noticeably. Hold on, I told you, right? The tests showed that I'm not infertile.
Then why can't we have kids? It doesn't make sense.
If you think so, why don't you get tested, Jake?
What? Why me? Isn't infertility a woman's issue?
That's not necessarily true. The doctor even said that the cause could be on the male side. At that, my husband shouted, "Shut up!" louder than I'd ever heard him before. Seeing his terrifying face for the first time, my shoulders trembled unintentionally. I was at a loss for words, and he calmly told me,
"There's no way the problem is with me. It's all your fault."
"But the hospital confirmed there's no issue with me."
"Shut up, you defective product. My mom was right to oppose our marriage. I'm embarrassed. I'm fed up with being married to a barren woman like you."
"How could you?"
"Shut up and sign the divorce papers. I don't love you anymore."
His cruel words made my head spin. Everything went dark before my eyes, and I no longer had the energy to retort. I filled out the divorce papers as told and signed it. When I finished, my husband coldly told me,
"Pack up and get out by tomorrow."
"What? So soon?"
"Don't talk back. Make sure you submit the divorce papers, got it?"
"I understand." The next day, I did as I was told and packed up my things. After leaving the apartment I had shared with my husband, I submitted the divorce papers on my way back to my parents' house. Just like that, our marriage came to an abrupt end. For a while after that, I was weighed down by the divorce. It was only possible to recover because of the support from my family. From then on, I spent my days off going out with local friends or making time for my hobbies. Doing so gradually faded the unpleasant memories of Jake, and I was steadily stepping into a new life. 2 years later, I remarried a man I met at the gym I started going to for my hobby. We were able to have a child right away. I wasn't infertile after all. There was no reason for me to be blamed. Just knowing that I could become pregnant lightened my heart. I'm glad I divorced Jake. I thought that from the bottom of my heart. Then one day, I got an invitation to a college reunion from a friend. Jake, my ex-husband, was in the same year, so I thought it would be awkward to meet him and was going to decline, but apparently he had already informed them that he wouldn't attend. I was also entering my second trimester, and I wanted to announce my marriage to my close friends, so I decided to attend the reunion. The day of the reunion finally came. I dressed up for the occasion and headed to the venue. Seeing my slightly swollen belly, my friends rushed over and showered me with congratulatory words. "Michelle, congratulations! We were worried when we heard you got divorced, but you look so happy. I'm really glad you met someone nice. Congratulations!" Tearing up, I thanked my friends. There I was, enclosed in this room of happiness. but that was short-lived.
Wait, Michelle?
A familiar voice disrupted the peaceful atmosphere. Jake was standing there. He approached me with a smug grin on his face.
Long time no see. How have you been?
Jake, I was told you weren't coming to the reunion today.
I just happened to attend a company party nearby, so I just popped in.
Oh, I see. Well, I'll be going now. As I tried to walk away, he stopped me.
Hold on a minute.
The next moment, he said something that made my ears burn.
Hey, Michelle, you've put on some weight, haven't you?
Excuse me?
Whoa, you've gotten fat. I guess you won't be remarrying anyone.
He looked me up and down, laughing at me in a demeaning way. In that moment, the tiny bit of feelings I had left towards him instantly turned into hate. Seeing me tremble in anger, my ex-husband mistakenly thought he'd won. Taking advantage of my silence, he started hurling insults at me.
Your belly is too big. You're a terrible woman.
He's the terrible human being. I firmly told Jake, "This is a baby bump. I'm pregnant." At that remark, my ex-husband looked dumbfounded. He was likely unable to understand the situation, so I explained carefully. "Did you hear me? This isn't fat. There's a baby inside."
What? What are you saying? There's no way.
Why not?
Huh?
Why are you so certain it's impossible? Despite my harsh tone, Jake stammered.
Well, that's...
As if to settle old scores, I tauntingly retorted, "Are you trying to say that I am infertile?"
Well, that's what I thought. Isn't that why you couldn't get pregnant for so long?
But here I am, remarried and expecting a child. Do you still think I'm infertile?
Oh.
From behind him a voice said, "Excuse me." There was an unfamiliar woman standing there. Upon seeing her, my ex-husband Jake visibly flinched.
Rachel, didn't I tell you to wait at the entrance?
"I just followed you because I was concerned. What's going on here?" Jake, didn't you say that you divorced because your ex-wife was infertile? That you loved each other but thought about each other's situation and decided on a peaceful divorce?
That's...
From what I heard of your conversation, it doesn't seem like you had a peaceful separation at all. The two of them were descending into a scene of a television drama in front of me. It appeared that this woman named Rachel was Jake's current girlfriend. Upon noticing how I was, Rachel opened her mouth with an apologetic expression. I'm sorry for the sudden interruption. I'm Rachel. You're Michelle, right? The ex-wife?" "Yes, that's correct, but I heard from Jake that your infertility was the reason for your divorce, but that's not true, is it?" "And the part about a peaceful divorce?" "Well, that's a downright lie. After all, he arbitrarily decided that I was infertile and abruptly pushed the idea of divorce onto me." I thought so. It seemed that Rachel had been fed a convenient lie by Jake. She seemed to feel a certain degree of anger at the truth that had come from my mouth. Jake desperately began making excuses, trying to regain her trust. Even at this point, he was still just a man trying to save his own skin.
"No, Rachel, really, it was a peaceful divorce."
"That doesn't make sense, does it? Michelle said she was abruptly pushed into a divorce."
"But that's because she..."
"But Michelle's pregnant now, isn't she?"
That's...
"I hope it isn't so, but you're not the cause of the infertility, are you, Jake?"
"What?"
As she continued her questioning, Jake's face gradually turned pale. He probably never imagined that he might be blamed for the infertility. With that, my ex-husband Jake was totally dispirited. Still pale, he crumbled onto his knees right there. Voices of condemnation could be heard from the classmates who had witnessed the whole incident. "Jake really messed up blaming his infertility on his wife. That's just nuts."
"Making Michelle the villain, that's low."
"That guy's done as a man. Besides, apparently he's a total mama's boy."
Ew, seriously? So creepy.
Unable to bear the chilly atmosphere, Jake ran off in tears. According to the rumors I heard later, Jake and Rachel ended their engagement right after that. He desperately tried to hold on to her, but it seemed Rachel wouldn't have it. Rachel couldn't forgive him, not just for lying, but for blaming me for the infertility. Although Jake was adamant that he had done nothing wrong, medical tests revealed that he was the one with fertility issues. Although it wasn't impossible for him to have a child, the verdict was nearly impossible under the current circumstances. Upon hearing the diagnosis, his mother disowned Jake in a rage, even though she adored her son. Well, she did want a grandchild so much, so it's understandable. And so their mother-son relationship reached its worst end. Both Jake and my former mother-in-law only thought about themselves, and this was the result. They brought it upon themselves, and they got what they deserved. Well, it's none of my business anymore. I couldn't care less about what fate befalls them. On the other hand, I recently gave birth to my first child without any issues. My baby is even more adorable than I imagined, and every day is filled with joy. My first pregnancy, my first time raising a child. There's a lot I don't know about, but I'm truly happy. I have nothing but gratitude for my husband, who gave me this happiness. Thank you for always being there for me. I expressed my words of gratitude to my husband, or rather, the words just slipped out of my mouth before I knew it. My husband then flashed a bright smile and said, "What are you talking about? It's only natural as a spouse, right?" "Perhaps that's true. Besides, you're the one that did all the work. Thank you for giving birth to such an adorable child," my husband told me while looking directly into my eyes. At his words, tears naturally started to fall. I'm the happiest person in the world. With a husband I love so much, and our adorable child will always be together.